you spoke about making sure you focus more on progress over being perfect, right? And then if you're trying to be a perfectionist, it tends to actually really backfire, and then you end up going nowhere, really, right? So, like,
Absolutely.
yeah. So, can you go a bit deeper on that? And then, like, what's the line between, for example, let's say, like a sloppiness and compromising being perfect for, like consistent progress?
So there is a difference between
Mm-hmm.
perfectionism and healthy striving. And we can see this at an emotional level. So perfectionism feels forced and painful. Healthy striving feels energizing. Um, Perfectionism feels like it's never good enough. And healthy striving allows us to see progress. Um, so perfectionism makes us miserable. Healthy striving feels satisfying and enjoyable, and it fits our values. It's not forced from the outside. So we don't have to beat ourselves up, because perfectionism often thinks, well, I either have to beat myself up or I'm going to be a slug lying on the couch. But to
Mm-hmm.
go to the other end of, well, how do we know we're not just being a slacker? That has to do with tapping into our values. Doing a barely adequate job in some areas might give us the energy and the time and the headspace to put our energy into something that matters to us. Not everything has to be, do your best on it. Some tasks do not deserve our best. And also, those little bits really can add up. So, are you a slacker, or are you getting there? Well, I think we see the progress. Um, if you're not making any progress, well, maybe you want to think about, is this the right goal for me? Because maybe it's not the right goal, and that's why you're avoiding it. Or maybe it's you need better strategies to get going. But if you're, chugging along, that will inspire you maybe to do a little bit more effort and keep going. So those little bits really do add up. We want to make it the difference between 0 and 1. That's the
Mm-hmm.
hardest, um,
Yes.
to just get moving. So there's always new studies coming out about how little exercise makes a difference. And a lot of times when we think about, oh, I should work out, we're like, I'm going to spend 3 hours at the gym every day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And well, life happens. You're probably not going to do that unless you've got nothing else going on
Yeah, or you're
in
an
your
athlete.
life.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Or you're on a team and like the coach is telling you, and like
Yeah.
then you could probably do that. But
Mm-hmm.
if you've got a full-time job and you've got maybe family obligations or other things that you need to be doing, um, that's going to be harder to do. So, but if you do some exercise, that's better than none. I had a client once. She was a high school girl, and she was beating herself up about my this is too big, my that is too small. And I'm listening and I'm listening. And I knew her pretty well. So at one point I said to her, do you think I should quit my job? Stop seeing clients, stop writing books, stop doing my podcast, and just focus 8 hours a day on my abs? I'm sure they would look a lot better if I spent 8 hours a day on my abs. What do you think? Good idea? And fortunately, she laughed. And I
Yeah.
said, how do you know I am not going to do that? And the
Mm-hmm.
answer is because it's not my values. Like, I do work
Uh-huh.
out because I want to be healthy, but it is
Yeah.
not worth 8 hours a day. I'm not going to devote my life to my abs because I have more
Mm-hmm.
interesting things to do.
Yeah. Got it. Okay, yeah. So it really comes down to, I guess, working backwards from your goals, right? And then
Yeah.
the sloppiness factor is, just checking in and seeing, I guess how many
Are
of
you
those
making
little,
progress? Yeah.
yeah, little habits. Okay, that's pretty interesting. Now, here's the thing. When it comes down to, in this case, changing a habit, right? People always have like different timelines that they tell other people in terms of how long it's going to take. Do you think that's healthy in the first place? And second of all, like, what would you say? Like, how long does it normally take for a person to, I guess, see meaningful results, right? Because oftentimes seeing results helps a person stay more motivated. So if they're trying to practice self-control and get rid of a certain habit and obviously change that, how long would it normally take if you had to just, I guess, give people an answer?
Well, I don't know. There's stuff on the internet about a 30 days or 90 days, or I
21,
don't know that
yeah,
I
there's a
believe
lot.
any of
Mhm.
that.
Oh, really?
um, so I think we want, if you're trying to change a habit, try to get a quick win, because that'll be motivating. So, well, I got that done. Can feel really good. You could even write down your wins so that you can see the progress. And if you're
Hmm.
feeling discouraged, it's like, okay, well, I did that, and I did that, and I did that. Okay, I'm getting there. Maybe it's not, the progress is not as fast as I'd want. It never is, right? but
Hmm.
but I'm moving in the right direction. And then think hard about strategies. So I'm I think plans are more important than goals, because like the goal is that shiny thing at the end. Um, and it's easy to sit on the couch and think about the goals and fantasize, wouldn't it be great? But I'd rather have you take one step in that direction. I'd rather have you, take one step, then the next step, then the next step, and see where you can get. And as you make progress, you might find yourself feeling more motivated, or you might get new strategies that are going to accelerate the progress. But that's more useful than just thinking, I'm going to be great.
Hmm. Yeah, so like it seems like you're saying it's much more effective to focus on the actual routine. For example, if we're talking about working out, rather than focusing on the end result, just focusing on doing the right things in the process. Like, is that the difference between the plan? Like actually doing the routine
Yeah,
versus
what are you going to
focusing on the goal?
do? Yeah,
Hmm.
how are you going to set up your environment to make it more likely that you're going to do whatever it is?
Hmm.
Yeah. And how are you going to recognize progress?
Hmm. Okay, and like, what do you mean by that? How are you going to recognize progress?
Well, I mean, we keep going to the exercise things, but
Yeah, it's like a good metaphor.
right,
Hmm.
write down your weights,
Hmm.
and see it. Or I take an art class, which I absolutely love. And after every session, I take a picture of whatever I've done so far. And if we look at a very wide angle and we see where we are, where we were last year and where we're going to be next year, we'll probably see a line upward. But if we take a magnifying glass and look at the line, it's going to look like this, because not every day is going to be better. But
Yes.
over time, if we stick with it, if we use good strategies, we build on success.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because like if you've been, trying to go and achieve a certain goal, and if you don't track the progress, like sometimes you don't actually recognize how far you've come, right?
Right.
Because it seems like you haven't really gotten anywhere, right? So tracking the progress, um, yeah, and then that's probably a reason why people, I guess, tend to quit quite a bit in our day because we're
Exactly.
so focused on the goal,
On the, yeah,
um,
the
on the
lofty
goal.
star. Yeah,
Yeah.
there
Hmm.
was a young girl in my art class one day, a teenager, and she was going on about, oh, I can't do this. Oh, I'm so bad at this. And finally, to be honest, she got on my nerves. And I turned around and I said to
Yeah.
her, it doesn't matter. Like wherever you are right now is a dot in time. If you
Hmm.
keep going, like
Going.
keep practicing, keep getting the feedback, keep learning new strategies, you're going to get better. So I
Hmm.
think that that's a really important orientation about, don't decide I'm good or I'm bad right now. It's focus on progress in the areas that matter to you.